Before I get started on that, let me just thank all the people who help hold this place together. Y'all do it anyway, whether I'm here or not. And I think the staff, Anna left a few months before I left, and then they've had to step up without two key individuals and have done a great job. And so I'm really grateful to you and to all the staff and to all the board people and all the volunteers and all you. Thank you so much for pulling this together. There's a long history of understanding this idea of collective consciousness, but the phrase actually came into Western society about 1893 when someone coined it, and then it was picked up by psychologists and sociologists, and largely what they meant by that was a sense of social norms that were found throughout much of human society, whether they knew each other or not. But then Carl Jung comes along and he applies it to, in a more deep way, to this idea that there's certain archetypes, certain well-worn patterns of understanding and perceiving the world and ways of being that human beings have that are cross-cultural. And even though these cultures have never met each other, at least that we know of, there would be the same symbols, there would be some of the same dream material, etc. So that there was underneath what is consciously known, this more or less transcending consciousness that unites all of humanity, an awakening of this idea that there is something that unites all of humanity at a level that is not at the individual level, but in a collective way, and touches each of us, and though we may not be consciously aware how it affects us, it does. The idea of collective consciousness is inside the many of the concepts that we have. There is an understanding that there is a divine consciousness. This divine consciousness is the consciousness that we share. And the people who brought that out explicitly in the West were the New Thought people, of which Charles Fillmore was a great advocate, one of the co-founders of Unity. He basically said there is only one mind, and only one mind, but many of us, many individual expressions of it, but we're all connected via the mind. But just to be clear, in spiritual circles, that's not the case. This awakening to something, an idea, a new idea, can happen when we are not physically connected. And that means that what you do with your mind could quite likely influence your neighbor. And you know this to be true just by experience. That is what the influence of your vibration has on the collective. And I think if we are truly responsible, we would be more careful with our vibration because we are essentially either blessing or dumping on our neighbor. That our mood is not just for us. Our mood is for everybody. So as we vibrate and as we collectively vibrate, we influence everybody else. And the world, as you have seen lately, is in need of a vibratory lift. It could use a booster shot for sure. In this particular place, let's say in a room this size, I'm on a date not too far away. Say, what day is that? September 7th. Oh, look, within reach. Before we even forget, if we had that hap going on, we could do a profound effect on their neighbors. And then instead of being a shooting, we could be a piecing. Instead of harming, we could help. Because you know what one person with an AR-15 did to the psyche of the United States. Think what 100 people moving at depth could do for the society as well. We are not powerless, even though we're part of the collective. We have agency. And if we choose to go into the core of who we are and to touch the divine connection between the sacred and the mundane, and we hold to that long enough, then that vibration works its way out to the rest of society.